Hey, have you ever gotten totally swept up in the hype for some new gadget or app, only to watch it, well, not quite live up to those huge promises? Yeah, me too. It turns out there's a powerful mental blind spot at play there, and it really shapes how we see progress itself. It's called the pro-innovation bias, and today we're going to unpack exactly what it is.
So let's kick things off with a question. You remember the promise of the paperless society, right? We were told that by now we'd be living in this super sleek, all-digital world. I mean, just take a quick look at your desk right now. How's that working out for you?
You know, this wasn't just some fuzzy, optimistic idea. This was a bold, super confident prediction made back in 1986 by the chairman of General Motors of all people. And it perfectly captures that unshakable faith we tend to have in new tech. This exact mindset is at the very heart of what we're talking about today.
So what is this psychological engine that drives these huge predictions that just don't quite pan out? Well, it actually has a name, the pro-innovation bias. And this is the core idea we're going to dig into. Okay, so the official definition calls it a belief that an innovation should just be adopted by everyone, right away, no questions asked. But here's the really crucial part of this bias. Its biggest fans get so hyped up about all the good stuff that they totally overlook the weaknesses, the downsides, and all the messy real-world problems. To put it even more simply, it's our brain's tendency to just assume that new automatically means better. It's this gut feeling that the shiny new thing is just inherently superior to the old way, and we don't even stop to ask the tough questions about how it'll actually work in our lives. To really see how powerful this bias can be, let's take a look at a massive historical example from the 20th century, the incredible optimism of the atomic dream. So as the source material for this explainer shows us, this huge wave of nuclear optimism swept the globe back in the 1950s. After atomic energy was developed, there was this incredible feeling that we had finally unlocked the ultimate power source, one that could pretty much solve all of humanity's problems. The vision was just huge, a future of peace and endless abundance. The belief was that nuclear power plants would make old energy sources like coal and oil totally obsolete. The general vibe was that everything would eventually run on clean, efficient, and practically limitless nuclear power. And this just brilliantly shows you the sheer scale of that dream. I mean, the promises were breathtaking. We were going to use atomic energy to irrigate deserts, to feed the world, turn ocean water fresh for thirsty populations, preserve food, advance medicine, and even fuel our trips to the stars. The pro-innovation bias was in full swing, focusing completely on this utopian potential while pretty much ignoring the very real challenges and dangers. Now, it's pretty easy to look back at the 1950s and see that over-the-top optimism. But this bias isn't just some relic of the past. Let's jump back to our first example, the promised office of tomorrow. The whole paperless society prediction is another classic case study. The champions of early computers saw the innovation, digital files, and just assumed it would totally replace the old way, physical paper. But they kind of overlooked the limitations, didn't they? Like how easy it is to just jot down a note, or the legal need for a real signature, or, the simple human fact that a lot of us just prefer reading on a printed page. And just remember that date, 1986. This isn't ancient history. This was happening right as the personal computer was becoming a fixture in offices everywhere. It just goes to show how this bias pops up right alongside every single major technological shift. Okay, so this bias doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's actually part of a whole family of mental shortcuts our brains love to use, especially when we're thinking about the future and new ideas. You see, this bias is related to a bunch of other concepts. There's the appeal to novelty, which is just the idea that new is always better. You've got the Gartner hype cycle, that predictable roller coaster of crazy expectations followed by disappointment that new tech goes through. Then there's the myth of progress, the assumption that we're always inevitably moving forward. Technological determinism is the belief that tech shapes us, not the other way around. And of course, there's just good old wishful thinking. They all kind of feed into each other, pushing us to embrace innovation without enough healthy skepticism. So what's the point of all of this? Why does knowing about the pro-innovation bias even matter? Well, it matters because it gives us a tool. It lets us be more thoughtful consumers of tech and ideas. It's not about being negative or cynical. It's about being realistic. It's about asking better questions and actively looking for the limitations that the biggest fans of an innovation might be completely missing. And that leaves us with a final question to chew on. Every era has its grand promises. So, looking at the technology that's all around you right now,
What do you think is our modern-day paperless society? What is today's atomic dream? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.